Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. As you guys can see up on the screen today, I wanted to talk a little bit about Sofi Technologies Incorporated. This is ticker symbol SOFI or Sofi for those of you guys that don't know. And as you can see on the screen today was a pretty good day for Sofi stock, up 4.57%. Now, yes, this does just get us to $5.49, but hey, 2022 has been a rough year. You got to take what you can get at this point. And having these kind of good days is really, really good. And, if we start to get a couple of these good days in a row, get maybe a couple of good weeks in a row, I know that sounds far-fetched. I know that sounds crazy, but these days are going to come at some point in the future. We just don't know if it's weeks, months, years away, whatever, but eventually we're going to be able to string together a couple good days, a couple good weeks, a couple good months. But another reason why I think this is extra good news is that the market overall was pretty red today. Dow Jones down over 1%, S&P down over 1.5%, NASDAQ down over 3%, and the Russell down around 2.5%. And for Sofi to not only be, down less than those, and to not only be green, but to be pretty significantly green, I think is a very, very good sign. But in this video today, we'll be going over all the latest for Sofi. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that a ton. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. And of course, as always, there's not going to be any financial advice in this video today. I'm not telling you guys to buy anything. Not telling you guys to sell anything, just kind of giving my thoughts and opinions on some articles, maybe some news, some Reddit posts. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So with that being said, let's get right into today's video. And yeah, the first post I want to talk about in the Sofi stock subreddit pretty much says exactly what I was just talking about. All things considered, today was a good day. Sofi is green. Bank of America was down. The VIX was down. JP Morgan was down. Lending Club down. Wells Fargo, Capital One, Amex, Ally, PayPal, Tree, a lot of the other fintech companies and other companies in this industry and kind of indices in this industry and indices in general were down. This was, like I said, a pretty bloody day in the stock market, and for Sofi to be up is still really, really good. And again, this is definitely still a continuation from the earnings and stuff as well. You can see the Q1 earnings call was a recent event. Obviously, this happened yesterday. The stock went down pretty significantly yesterday, but to see it bounce back today, I think is the market kind of having overreacted to the earnings report and the leaked earnings report coming out yesterday, but then also just them continuing to digest it and saying, hey, we're actually pretty excited about this Sofi earnings report. Hey, there's actually a lot of good stuff in there. And like I said, hey, we're only at $5.49. We're still very, very close to all-time lows. So being at this point is no kind of victory or anything like that. But the stock doesn't deserve to be hitting new all-time lows, new 52-week lows. So I think that was a good sign at least. We did kind of have this weird point today where, we were at 557, then came all the way down to 520 and we're in the red, but did bounce back strong after hours down 0.91%. I wouldn't read too much into that. We have another Reddit post talking about the hidden number that reveals the loss is actually better than the reported 14 cents per share. See below. This guy says the overall balance sheet to get EPS, we take net loss and divided by shares outstanding. And he says losses by removing provisions, we get true cash out loss of $97 million. So he's saying, hey, the earnings report might even be better than meets the eye. And obviously not every investor is going to dive that deep into things. And not every investor is necessarily even going to agree with that or think that that's necessarily true or excite them that much. But for the people who do dive deeper into that and do believe in what this guy's saying, hey, potentially you could, have a leg up on the market. You could potentially get in this thing at a better deal, at kind of a better future outlook or a better current outlook. So I thought this was kind of interesting, at least, kind of a post to think about, to see what you make of this. And if you agree with that, hey, maybe it's something worth diving a little deeper into, or maybe it's something that might push you over the edge or get you more excited about Sofi. This guy said, so much fake news. He said, every article I see from today says Sofi down after earnings, or early earnings release takes Sofi down. And I think part of the reason is that's obviously a good headline. That is like clickbait stuff. That is stuff that people are going to want to check out. Hey, Sofi leaked their earnings early. What the heck? Or hey, Sofi dropped their earnings. Now they're down. That's easy, A and B for them to put together, but also it makes for good clickbait. It makes for good headlines. And obviously, as someone in content creation, I can relate to that, and I can see where they're coming from. But this guy presents another kind of argument to the whole thing, I guess. He says, in reality, Upstart earnings were yesterday, and they took all fintech down, including SoFi. So he thinks a lot of, if not all of SoFi being down yesterday was not even related to their earnings at all. He says the early release caused a halt, then it slightly went up after it resumed. And I do agree with that. If you look at the SoFi graph from yesterday, it does kind of slowly trend upwards after bottoming out once it got unhalted and everything, or, it drops down, it gets halted, then it comes up the rest of the day. But I don't know. I mean, there was a drop off when the earnings got leaked, but I think that was partly because it got leaked early, not because the earnings were bad or anything like that. And yes, it definitely went up and up and up, throughout the rest of the day. So I thought that was cool. At least that was good. This guy said, SoFi still ended the day down somehow, but should be making moves up. This is a steal here and saying this now. SoFi should be profitable in 2023. And hey, if SoFi reaches profitability in 2023, that's going to be awesome. And yes, from the 495 intraday lows yesterday up to 549 today, that's a significant jump up. So people saying it was a steal yesterday at the intraday lows, so far so good. They seem that they are right, but who knows what's going to happen over the next couple of days, weeks, everything like that. This guy had a question about the SoFi UI, saying, do you guys think that SoFi UI will look attractive for the new generation or for the seasoned investor, or will it try to cater to both? Because I do think that is an interesting dilemma, where they're trying to be a financial institution. They're trying to compete with traditional financial institutions and trying to steal customers from them, but they're also trying to be financial services for the next generation, for the future investor, for obviously the younger generation is somebody who's going to be easier to acquire, most likely. And if you're trying to cater to older people, it's going to have one UI, one look, one feel. If you're going to cater to the younger generation, it's going to have one look, one feel. And it's an interesting dilemma because obviously people who are older are going to have more money. And if you are able to get them in, you're going to reap more rewards by just having somebody who you're going to be able to make more money off of in the short term. And if you get younger people, they're going to have less money right now. Now you might have a customer for life and you might be able to make overall more money off them in the long run. But in the short term, if you're attracting people that don't even have any money and offering them financial services, it's not going to be all that fruitful, again, in the short term. But what does short term even mean? 5, 10, 20 years? Who knows when these people are actually going to get their hands on some cash? So that is something to kind of keep in mind. I think an interesting decision that SoFi is going to have to make. Or like this person says, hey, are they going to try to cater to both? But then you obviously risk, doing two things bad, maybe instead of doing one thing good. But who knows? This guy had an interesting post. He said, for the record, SPACs are not doing worse than IPOs. SoFi is doing better than many other fintechs and stocks. He says, TLDR, yes, the market is shit. Yes, it's been shit for 6 months, and it's probably going to get a lot worse before it gets better, but SoFi and SPACs in general are doing no worse than others. In fact, SoFi is doing a lot better than many others. Do not panic sell. He says this is not financial advice. And I think this is pretty interesting because, yeah, you hear everyone talking about, SPAC mania is over, and SPACs are doing so horrible, and every company that went public via SPAC in the last 2 years is like getting murdered and all that stuff. But then you look around the market and all stocks are getting murdered over the last couple of months. Like Apple's down, Google's down, like these massive, massive, massive companies. Netflix is getting slaughtered. Facebook's getting slaughtered. SPACs are also getting mega, mega, mega slaughtered, but it's not like they're the only ones. And obviously this guy, provides some evidence and stuff to that, talking about companies like PayPal down massively, Coinbase down massively. That's something that IPO'd. Hood is down 89%. Like, it's easy to just say that SPACs are getting killed, and then it's true, but when the whole market's getting killed, it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story or give you perfect context, I don't think. This guy asked if we can get an AMA with Noto, and I think this would be super, super cool. I think it'd be an awesome idea. I would love to, get him, whether it's an AMA or a Twitter Q&A or just an article where he's talking to, real people, not cherry picking questions too much and actually giving some responses. I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be great. And yeah, I just thought this was cool. Something I wanted to include and talk about. Somebody asked, what is a B2B sponsor bank in relation to the Q1 2022 earnings call? This seems to be a question that a lot of people have. He said, Noto mentioned they can be a sponsor bank in B2B. What does that mean? Was incredible reading about 100 million in weekly deposits. Very strong book value right now. This guy answers, sponsor bank means a federal or state chartered bank which is a member of the Visa and or MasterCard associations and which processes credit and debit card transactions and provides related services on behalf of the credit parties. I imagine B2B means business to business. it usually does. In the case of SoFi having another bank institution as a customer, that is his best guess, and that's super cool. And this guy says it's probably for Galileo's clients as well, obviously for another way to make SoFi money. And, this seems like something that SoFi is interested in doing, and just another way they can make a little bit more cash and take advantage of their bank charter. Finally, I wanted to wrap this video up with some price targets for SoFi going down. Today, SoFi is being repriced by Market Screener from $10 to $8, Market Beat from $15.50 to $9.50, Street Insider from $13 to $9, and from this guy from $150 to $250. He said pricing targets are the dumbest metric for long-term holders, and that I definitely agree with, because are these people downgrading because they think SoFi is worse, because the story has changed, the business model's changed, nothing like that? No. A lot of these people, well, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming, my guess is that a lot of these people are just changing their price targets because where SoFi is at today. When SoFi's at $10, $12, $15, and you have a price target for the future, obviously things need to change when the price goes down and down and down. So I don't know, people usually act like it's horrible news or awful news when a stock gets their price target lowered, but the price target in the future has to be relative to the price today, but it is just dumb that, hey, when the stock market's in a bull market, everyone's raising their price targets, and then as soon as things get bearish, everyone's lowering them, even though a lot of the times nothing's actually changing with the individual stocks. So I don't know, kind of weird, kind of dumb, but that's kind of stuff that's going on with SoFi right now. That's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about SoFi. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.